structure qui est créée pour les jeunes qui sont dans le gaiement, pour les jeunes de l'Ouest et tout. Mon blé production est là pour produire les jeunes talentueux, cachés, que les gens ignorent. Donc notre devoir, c'est de produire des talents cachés. Alors, il a fait un son pour mon blé production.
Arrangé Eric Glodé, le don de Dieu pour la musique de l'Ouest. Je te détesterai jamais, 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 au grand jamais. Mon blé production, Abia Dia Oboa, Amunyandro, moi Tobiere. Moye, Piero Momoye, Moye, Piero Momoye, Ato Piero Dia Vere, Piero Momoye, Ah Piero Ndato Piero Soprano Seide, Ato Piero Dia Vere, Akosia O, Moye, Piero Momoye, Mosabo Saiko, Momoye, Piero Jimo Vere, Mandoye Mo, A Piero Jimo Vere, Mandoye Mo, Piero Piero Ha, Dia Vere, Piero Momoye, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Piero Dia Vere, La Poje Dia Vere, Soino Juniemble, Mobli Amado, let's apple. Jamone Chibanyone, Mama Chibanyone, Ja, Plebonena Kanyopo, Siavutiena, de Kanywe, Kanyon de Koga, Sepradea, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Odiarwa, Oyawesa, Moye, Chiblo, no Pigeon Boba, Yeruno, Maboye, Piero, Piero Moye, mon blé production. Copier mon blé production. Assez au clano. Y'a quel homme au côté. Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Ericona, Piero Moye, Ah, Charlie Kona, Piero Moye, Ah, to Piero Moye, Die na pa yeble, to Piero die na pa yeble. Ah, nie, Piero, ah, Piero we, Moye, Erico Jato Piero Mare Bomu Jato Piero Erico de Bomu Jato Piero Miomo Daka Dojale Koya Nyopa Opa Bla Yede Nyani Yeble Bratije Chiao Anade Bro Ajabe Hatia Nyoro Badeke Abudiye Ono Omono Neke Adubleye Subo Somo Soble So Danyo Paseble Asenyon Dayeta Esa Yedibo Sanele To Piero Jiaweke To Piero Poinson Weke To Piero Iwa Mopa Kaya no Eka Sene Lataya Mokla Osiane To Piero Jiakwede Pampako Jiao Ah To Piero Moye Ah Nuwa Gwa Moe Dive Kwa Gwa Moe Ah Nuwa Gwa Moe Piero we Ah Piero Nuwa Gwa Moe Piero we Piero Momoye, Piero Momoye, Clayo Padawe, Nembo Kango, Clayo Padawe, Nembo Kango. Ah, Tidieji, ah, Tidieji, ah, Mara Tidiemeo, Ao, Bupa Carita Bonita Wake, Asao Mane, Piero Momoye, Piero Momoye, Piero Momoye, Esse Sonia Boutier, Aseo. Mama Sableye, Angela Wene, et Bobo Pangla Bouye, Angela Wene, Nama Bobo Pangla Bouye, Angela Wene, Angela Dieu, Machapa Keyo, Daria Dieu, Moye, Angelo Momoye, Ah, Mama Bokembla, Mama Kembla, where you Ah, je sais ma Jackie, je sais, Mama, je sais, Tania.
Folks, we want to welcome you to this evening broadcast. I'm Alfonso Z, and so right here at the New England Bureau, we say good evening, good morning. Hey, Sam Shep, quite a late word we have been sent, and all of you beautiful people, Violet, Mr. Giflazy. Yeah, I love this one here. The straight loafer man there. Congratulations for your big win in the county meet. Ooh, we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for being here as usual, keeping it honest and having authentic conversations on news, making headlines in Liberia and other parts of the world. As usual, I'm Alfonso Z and Salt of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. We want to welcome to all our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your Monday evening with us right here. This is what we do to bring you news, information, and entertainment. And of course, your participation is highly, highly to welcome. Oh, what a day here. This evening, very short later, we are here. My guy is going to be joining me here. As you know, a big political bombshell in Liberia. The former defense minister, the longest serving defense minister of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable J. Branning Samuka'S. It's a political nightmare. But I see what's going to happen. It started as far as 2018. That has to do with the pension schemes of members of the armed forces of Liberia. AFL, of which the Honorable Minister J. Branning Samuka'S at the time served as the Minister of National Defense during the Helen Johnson Sirleaf administration. Politicians always, somewhere, somehow, issues. But let's see who is Samuka'S and his long savings record. The amount we are talking about is over to 1 million United States dollars. That is purposely for the pension schemes of members of the armed forces of Liberia. Even when Samuka'S announced his candidacy, it didn't go away. At the same time, he was very forceful, addressing and tried to get this office back by sitting down with media outlet. Don't get me wrong, he's people make mistakes and people do some crazy, stupid thing, politicians. It all happens here as well. And so he is no exception. But he's a very trained, smart guy. He's been speaking out forcefully out there within the domains of the international community, making an argument for the armed forces of Liberia, to which he represents as the chief administrator. But what happens most often, politicians sometimes kick the can down the road. He had a big win to representing the interests of the group calling itself the Collaborative Party, CPP, of which the victory is turning to be a little bit like a sour milk now. The higher court, arbiter of court in the land, that's the Supreme Court, voted today to pay restitution, or you go to jail, pay 50% of that. What does that mean? Where is the credibility of our lawmakers? It is only he would know about, but there are many of them that are occupying those positions or who allegedly were accused, and at the end of the day, Liberians choose to elect those people. And at the end of the day, we turned around to say we want to have a good governance. Yet I was told late this evening to working phone lines, people from I was told that there was some sort of prior conversation. Former members of the transitional team told us this evening that the Louis government were hinted by the Helen Johnson Sirleaf government. So to what extent, what details do we need to know that get us to be at this point? Liberia Public Radio is creating a conversation, fair, balanced, and proportional, that we will allow you, Liberians, and those that have interest for the good of our country, for us to have this conversation without faith and bias. When it happens to this CDC government, we'll talk about it. So there's no need for us to become more selective and choose when not to talk and when not to talk. But Brandon Samuka has represented us, all of us, Liberia, when he served as the Minister of National Defense. Let's watch what he did then. That was in 2018, representing Liberia on the international stage. And he could do what he did to interpret the essence and why the emphasis of Liberia at the time I could get this pension scheme. I'm Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Popular Radios. Let's watch this.
There as the next generation to lead the security sector, which you aim to lead the different offices that you are presently holding. So I will try my possible best to see what are some of those characteristics that should be embedded in you that people can easily identify, or your actions will definitely demonstrate that. So you will want to find out from yourself. We keep talking about strategic leaders, strategic leadership, transformational leaders. But what are some of those things that we need to have embedded in us as we go back as commanders, as we go back as generals, as we go back as officers, directors, ministers in the different offices that we have? It is easy to say you are a leader than to see you practically trying to demonstrate that. So one has to see that in you as a character. Something about you that people need to recognize and appreciate. Is there a sense of integrity in what you say that is believable? Because when you're training soldiers, and soldiers are under your command at different levels, they trust you when you say charge. They trust you when you issue your orders. So there is something about the training that you underwent as an officer for them to believe that those orders or statements you are giving should be something that they should believe in. So that helps to make you to be seen as someone that they can trust, someone whose integrity makes a lot of sense that they can believe and they can begin to follow. Similarly, if you are a laid-back leader, for an example, it makes it difficult in a very hectic environment for one to rely upon you. And I'd like to just give you one example of that. On April 16th, thereabout in 2006, President Sullivan, her government had just come into power. And we had about hundreds of thousands of demobilized soldiers in the country who were demanding more than the demobilization package that we're giving them at the time. And they went on rioting. I was in the office in the Ministry of Defense, and everybody fled, pretty much. The citizens fled the street. The soldiers that were in the front came to the back. Civilian staff bonded themselves in different offices. The UN peacekeeping force were on the ground, and these individuals got in the middle of the street and were burning tires. One expected that probably the minister would flee the office. No, I did not. I chose to stay. Because the authority of the Minister of Defense and in the mindset of the people have to see someone that they believe that what he's doing is the right thing. Long story short, eventually we're able to get to Unmill, and through the efforts of the commander in Monrovia, they were able to bring the situation under control. But the action goes to demonstrate that people have to trust you. They have to believe that you're not going to wrap up immediately and flee, having been put in a position where they expect you. So one has to be a little bit assertive in the things you tell them, that it is believable, that something they themselves can believe and follow. Was it a challenge? Of course it was. It was the challenge to the authority of not only the Minister of Defense, but also the integrity of the government. Because President Salif had already said that the international community had already provided funds for the demobilization process. And we had to stick to the ground that, in fact, there was no law that gave us the authority to do any more than that which had been done. So that was one of the first major challenges she received. In fact, that was the second challenge she received. The first one she got was on the eve of inauguration, 2 days before inauguration. Widows of thousands of people who fought the war, thousands, barricaded the city and were marching towards the State House, or what we call the Executive Mansion, where the president was. All the international dignitaries would have been arriving in 2 days' time for the new government to be ushered into power. President Salif left the comfort of the Executive Mansion against the advice of the security people, and she and I went out to meet these thousands of very angry people. She was able to calm them down by her presence and asked that these discussions take place after the inauguration to see whether the veracity in the demands that they were making. That was one of the major challenges. It tested her ability. It tested the ability of that leader to go out there and face a major challenge that even people were afraid that something would have happened. It was a very calculated decision. So it wasn't a careless decision, but a very calculated decision based on the challenge that she was facing. So it is easy, again, to say I'm a leader. Then when you are faced with challenges that people expect you to cross those challenges. And we say to ourselves, sometimes it is better to go beyond your comfort zone. She was sitting in a mansion. She didn't need to leave the presidency. She could have sent the Minister of Defense. She could have sent the Minister of Justice. She could have simply issued an order or something to clear the street, but she chose not to. She took that.
Good evening. Welcome. I'm Afonso Zeansot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPRS TV. Bring you news, information, and entertainment right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. That was in 2018. Then, now Senator-elect of Lofa County, the Honorable Brandon J. Samuka, former police director. He occupies numerous positions in government, making the appeal at the African International Studies, arguing for the government and the people of Liberia for the pension schemes of the members of the armed forces of Liberia. At the time, the country was going through tough time and demobilization to pension to members of the armed forces of Liberia. He used some keywords, integrity. And so let us do some little bit retrospective. That was a very good argument he was making then. But what happens at the end? And the Englishmen say, the race is not to the swift, but he who endureth to the end. And so you heard the president, and we all vividly remembered very well at the time, just before the inauguration of President Helen Johnson Sirleaf, when widows and members of the armed forces of Liberia took the street in argument of their pension scheme, which of course they are entitled to it. And that came true after the government made her position clear. As you know, Liberia was heavily supported by the international community then and helped to demobilize Liberian armed forces that accompanied with a lot of things. So then Minister Brandon J. Samuka made those accusations. Right after that, there was a bombshell, and allegedly over $1,467,000 United States dollars were wrongfully appropriated, which the minister himself alluded in a major press conference that was held in the nation's capital of Liberia, precisely January 19, 2018. So this is just not a makeup. It's something that happens. They went to court as usual. That's the process. When there's an accusation, you can't just come out of the sky and say the person has committed, but it is the judicial assistant that has to determine that. It's been on and on and on. The minister was then in the stage, according to one of the interview, we're going to be playing you that clips, bring everything into full context for clarity and well-proportionate, balanced objectives, so we all can have a conversation. Now, the people of Lofa then invited the then former minister to contest the senatorial race for Lofa County. In the midst of that, it didn't go away. The conversations were all over the place. But the minister, someone that I know very well, didn't shy away to even face the media. He's a very smart guy. The Women TV in Liberia took the chance to host an exclusive with the former Minister of National Defense, Brandon J. Samuka. Let's look at this tape. I guess the Liberal Progressive is standing by. Yesterday, did I hear him saying somebody which you are going to put their foot in their mouth, and where this foot is going this evening? Let's listen to former Minister J. Brandon Samuka.
This is Women's TV Liberia. We're coming to you from Pinsville and at the official office of Honorable J. Brandon Samuka. He used to be our defense minister during the regime of Honorable President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and currently he's a senatorial candidate in Lofa County, and specifically he's going to be participating in the December 8th elections. We're going to be talking different national issues today and some of his developmental initiatives he intends to roll out in Lofa County. As you may be aware, Lofa County is one of the challenged counties in Liberia, especially with road, but it is believed that that county is the breadbasket of Liberia. So being someone vying for one of the highest office in the county, he's going to be telling us more today. Welcome to our interview, Honorable Samuka.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so today we're here with Trojan Kazulu from Fabric Radio and Ada Reese from Boost Chicken, and I'm Lisa Darcy from Women's TV Liberia. So tell us who is Honorable Brandon Samuka, even though many of our listener or audience will be knowing in 5 ways. Who are you?
Well, I'm a Liberian. I recently left government in 2018, having served for 12 years as Minister of Defense. I've held many other portfolios in the country. I've been served both on the international level, the United Nations. I'm a private businessman right now, consulting on national security and strategic issue, policy formulation, economic strategy, managing resources. Those are the areas of my concentration at this point in time. I'm presently consulting because now I'm told the Supreme Court has still not lifted a ban yet on campaigning.
Okay.
So I'm consulting leading to the December 8th elections to serve as the Senator of Lofa County.
Okay, that's very, very good. Okay, let's recount before we go back to the senatorial elections. Let's recount some of the different initiatives you were able to pull forward to the National Defense Ministry. Let's recount some of those good things. Maybe our audience will be interested in knowing those different things that you did during the time of your service.
Well, I think you would be the best judge to evaluate whatever I did or didn't do as the Minister of Defense. And I think whatever we did is being built upon and improved upon and even getting much better.
Okay.
We are quite satisfied with the professional content of the institution as we build both on the civilian side and on the uniform side. We're very pleased that we were able to elevate the status of civilian staff, particularly educationally, advancing them to the university level and as far as master's degree level in England, where some of them went as well. We were able to build their capacity, women capacity in the Ministry of Defense by sending them to institutions abroad, including Monterey, California, and other U.S. facilities that are out there. So I believe those capacities have been done and have been able to make the ministry a more professional entity. And I think it's been built upon, and I think it's one of those institutions that I'm very glad that I was a part of it to make it happen.
Okay, let's move into the senatorial elections in your bid. What did you see over the period that you've been able to throw your hat into the race?
Actually, they gave me the hat. I didn't throw my hat into the race. I was called by the people of Foya District in particular. It was sometime in March, April of 2018 when they called me. I was in the States, and they called me and asked me that they wanted me to take on this challenge of wanting to represent Lofa County as their candidate that they were presenting. And I think, from my own evaluation, I think there are very good people who are around in the political sphere of Lofa County, both male and female, at the national level or the national legislature. And I think one of the major things that has been absent is the issue of leadership.
Okay.
And I believe that in the absence of leadership, it makes it difficult for people to be led. So one has to have a leader that can articulate those things that are of concern to the people of Lofa County and to the concern of the people of Liberia as a whole, that you can bring on a national level and also get international attention. whether it's roads, whether it's hospitals, whether it's schools, whether it's farm to market roads, whether it's improving the maternity situation for our mothers, for the children that are there. One has to have leadership to address those things in a manner that gets national attention. You get resources into those locations. It is not about just building a clinic, excuse me, where you cannot provide drugs. It's not about building a school where you cannot pay the teachers. Neither is it about somebody individual.
Okay, that was Brandon Samuka'S then on his bid to contest the 2017 senatorial race, which of course he successfully won for Lofa County, representing the group calling itself the Collaborative Party, including my own Liberal Progressive Samson Brown to Liberty Party, CPP. Okay, so there you said, but in January of 2018, he admits of wasteful spending of the pension benefits of the armed forces of Liberia that got him into this problem. So before I bring in the Liberal Progressive, this was the Honorable Brandon Samuka'S today, leaving the highest court of the land in support of the lower court decision. So let's see this, and we're going to get this conversation going. And of course, you, our vault followers, are you also going to participate?
This front page newspaper. We are live at the Supreme Court Board of Justice for the Supreme Court. Just
let's get the program going. The Liberal is impatient, waiting here. Let me see what he's going to be saying, folks. Get ready. We're going to open the lines. You're going to form part of this. Is the decisions of the Supreme Court of Liberia. It's enough. He has to pay some restitution, or he go behind the bars, where he do some community service as well. It's 8:27 Eastern Standard Time right here in the East Coast. Let me go out there and bring in the Liberal Progressive, Samson Brown Toe. Yesterday, let's see what are the narrative going to change this evening. He was telling Professor Asis Cesaro that the CDC-led government quickly will put their own foot in their mouth. Apparently, history seems to be rewriting here. I'm not sure he knew what was going to be coming today. The Liberal Progressive, good evening. You look so fabulous and nice this evening, but I'm not sure whether you are comfortable in a nice navy blue and red tie and everything all sticking out. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Soul, for having us. We appreciate it.
You're not sounding like the Liberal that I know.
I am, Mr. Soul. Please don't start the program as such. I am here this evening representing the Liberal view, and not you, Mr. George, or Professor Zagro couldn't dislodge me from my position. I am here, strong and ready to go. Look, Mr. Soul, let's just start right away. This whole debacle that is happening right now with the former defense minister, in two ways, to be honest with you. The first is, I blame the lawyers for the former defense minister for not being. I'm not too sure if they did, but if they did and he didn't listen, then that's on him. But I think he should have been told truthfully that this thing is possible, that the Supreme Court gonna rule against you. And these people should have been able to look at the statistic of Supreme Court ruling after the lower court have ruled. How many times that the Supreme Court have overturned the lower court judgment? And then you make that judgment to say, okay, now because of this kinds of previous standing with Supreme Court and the lower court, you can now go ahead and run for senator. That's the first thing. If you look at history in terms of Supreme Court and the lower court, it is very difficult. It is very rare to find the Supreme Court to try to overrule the judgment of the lower court in Liberia.
They are the same institutions. They run concomitantly.
I agree. No, but let me don't throw the baby with the bath water here tonight. It's not working on me. It only happens if the lower court is being challenged by something that and I'm not a lawyer, please forgive me. But if the lower court comes out and the Supreme Court find that the lower court have made error in procedures area with respect to the Constitution, how the law was applied, if those things are not in conformity with the Supreme Court or the Constitutional Republic, then they can't do that. That is not the case in this situation. Number one. The second thing is the former defense minister. I feel bad for him because this thing, what they have done, what this government have done by bringing the Supreme Court.
Hold on. Which government are you talking about?
The George Weah-led government. I will go back and just this government.
I've given you enough time, and you have.
No, Mr. So let me lay it out. Let me lay out. Please don't rush me. Don't rush me. It's not tonight. It's not happening. The liberal is on fire because this is the time to show what we know and what we don't know. Now, this George Weah-led government decide to go after this man because they were flocked massively in Lofa County, and they were flogged most of the places in all over the country. Now they're trying to dig up some issue that was resolved. Mr. So, back in the days before the president took office, there was a meeting between the current president and the former president and the defense minister, and it was agreed upon that this present government was going to go and in fact, it's right here. It's right here. This government was going to restitute or refund the money that they're talking about. This man did not take the money and utilize it for himself. Okay. He used the money for what the present government is quite aware of. He used the money to do something with the army. Now, they say because he did not apply that according to the law, number one. But there's a reason here what the government, this present government, agreed that they were going to pay. They're not doing it. They're going after it because of the election. They got flogged massively, and we're going to whoop them in 2023. We're going to whoop them in 2023. They're taking Bunny Samaga out of Lofa County. Why you put Lofa County in a big mess like this? A constitutional crisis because of your greed for power. This is not going to happen. Maybe the Constitution is there. The Supreme Court has ruled. I'm not too sure how it's going to go. But now you have put Lofa County in a big mess because of the greed of power.
Mr. Tor, are you okay?
Yes, I am. Sometimes we need to stand out. I'm gonna get a water. Don't stop me right. I'm gonna drink. But sometimes you need to stand out. And then we come to the intellectual platform and we try to be polite and what have you. They're trying to take advantage of these kinds of situations. This is ridiculous. You now, because of the grief of CDC greed, now you have put Lofa County into a constitutional crisis. This is unforgivable, and they will be flogged massively.
This is unbelievable. Can you get a drink? I don't want your pressure and your cholesterol to go up this evening here.
Thank you.
Your New Year service. Okay, you seem to be okay now. My goodness, I never saw this old man get invested. This is what somebody wrote, not me. Vabasa King said, what the old man, the old man is best. Okay. So, Pa Joyce.
Yeah.
Have you seen something to the liberal to be so what?
This decision pushing to the edge.
Wow.
The decision pushing to the edge.
He tries to drag this government into the mud. This thing dated as far as 2018, right? And minister himself, we have to check all, be it the government, the oppositions, or those who want state power. And this is what the minister admitted. Defense Minister admits to wastefully spending AFL soldier pension benefit. I doubt that the Liberal Progressive had a time to take a review on this thing here. Why it is true, I don't know. He tried to labor the code. He tries to remind people the same things that we went through, the Samuel Doe AFL. Samson told the Liberal of the Liberty Party is now laboring the court of Liberia as the George Weah court. Is that a valid argument?
I would tend to agree with Mr. Toh on some issues. When they like someone else question the government present with their action, as he rightly stated, Mr. Toh, for the reason at the time when President Weah spoke to the public to say that his government was taking full initiative, responsibility of that money to bring.
Why are audio in recent time is kind of like
okay? Let me change it.
Try to do this. Try to change that. Let's see it. We need this. Okay, let's see here. Is the Liberal Progressive Samson Blocko Brown Toll is based in California. My goodness, I love your
Mr. So.
I love your
so. I am not trying to get the government to say the Supreme Court is doing the bidding for the government. That's not the point that I'm making. The Supreme Court is pretty much based, whatever ruling it is, strictly based on the law. When it comes to...
Is that a witch hunt or what?
Not on the part of the government, yes. But when the Supreme Court comes in, they're going by the ruling from the lower court. And the lower court...
So then where is the witch hunt is coming from?
It's coming from the government.
Why?
Because they want the position. They got flocked in Lofa County. And because of their greed for power, they're now putting Lofa County in jeopardy. Lofa County is now in a constitutional crisis. Because there's nothing in the Constitution that Lofa people are going to remove the senator who was twice certified.
You are trying to circumvent here that I do know there are other folks within the establishment. There are greater things also happen. Whatever happened, whoever posted through, but I know the government or CDC has been pushing this here, which of course they have the right to. But you are trying to rewrite history here this evening, Mr. To.
Mr. So, we have to be serious. This is the same government. This is the same president that held the hand of Alex Stallard, wanting Alex Stallard to be president, to be a senator, for goodness sake. And then you're going to go after Bonnie Samuka. Bonnie Samuka's situation, as I explained, from the beginning, yes, he spent the money, but he didn't spend it on himself. And the former president...
Hold on. Spend the money, he did not spend it on himself.
Okay, Mr. So, I'm not going to justify your press trying to juggle me here this evening as your press person. You have your job to do. That's fine. But at this point, I will please ask you to allow me to explain myself.
Okay, now, please. Amos George was speaking before he got... Okay,
all right. Let him go ahead. Let him go ahead.
Please, I don't want your pressure to go up easy here this evening. I'm my first time seeing you. This is amazing. The Liberal. Yeah. My goodness. Wow. Are you okay?
Yes. Enough is enough. I expect this government at this point to say, look, we were flocked. Let's find reason for Liberians to come together and perhaps we can ask for 6 more years. But instead, you're going after someone who was twice certified.
Well, this guy pleaded guilty. Are you aware of that?
So he did not plead guilty. He did not plead guilty. What he said and what his lawyer said, perhaps, is that he used the money, but not the way the government is pleading. The government trying to prosecute him about. Right. Let me say this again, Mr. So. Yes. Hold on, Mr. So. Let me say this again so your audience will get it. Let them go and do research. From the beginning of the case, the lawyer always say, and it has already been confirmed, the president, this current president, and the former president, and the defense minister all sat in a room and agreed that this president's government were going to pay back the money because they all recognize that this man did not use the money for himself. He used it for the purpose what it was supposed to be, except he did not ask for permission. So the government, this present government, under Dr. Weah, agreed that they were going to pay back the money through the budget allotment. Now, because he have won the case, instead of saying let bygone be bygone, they're going to go after him.
Okay, we want to welcome our own national correspondents based in the city of Greater Liberia. Our Honored Charles Taylor Bertentino is LPR correspondent based in the city of Banga. Berton, good morning and welcome. Let me bring in Pa Joyce here. The Liberal seems to be like all over the place. Pa Joyce.
Yeah.
Is this a witch hunt?
It is.
Wow. First time forming coalitions. Explain.
Okay. At the inception of the Weah-led government, President Weah, came out, spoke to the Liberian people that the money in question, his government was going to take full responsibility of that money. After having meeting with Bernie Samuka'S and former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Now, at the time, I did question, why would the president come to saying that the government would take full responsibility without not giving any reason to the Liberian people? But again, some of were the voices in the wilderness. Nobody listened to us. Now, moving forward, Bernie Samuka'S, the video that they announced that the CDC-led government had asked him to run on the CDC ticket in Lofa. But he refused that. He did not want to join the CDC to run on a ticket. Predicated upon that, it was when the Republic of Liberia ordered to go to trial with this case. So, what changed that the president decided not to prosecute Bernie Samuka'S? Did he come back to tell the Liberian people why he decided to prosecute this case? No, he did not. So, in that context, I would say to anybody that it's a political witch hunt and trying to deny the people of Lopaka of the senator, because he knew. This is why, again, I always say they're always putting their foot in their mouth. These are some of the things we said, or the government. You refuse to do it. You came out, you said you take full responsibility. Your government want to pay. So then what changed? If anything, why you didn't come to explain to the Liberian people? But you decided to order that this man must be prosecuted.
What was the legal implications? Those are state those are fundings that came from the international community. And I agree, the government said they were coming to pay. To pay. So what is the legal implications? What was
that's what these are the things the president did not explain to us.
No, so then you, the defendant, should be in the position to explain those terms and conditions attached to that as well.
So we were
and like you said, I talked to a individual close to the transition, the former transitions, all of these things, they were for disclosure on this. What happens behind the scene, behind the curtain, is yet I need to know details. You need to know details of that. The Liberian people would need to know details. But $1 million question here, and I found it very bizarre that the Supreme Court decision today, okay, here, look, when decision is taken, you either go straight here, but there is some sort of flexibility being injected into this case. Okay, you need to pay these restitutions 50%, or you're going to go to jail, and blah, 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 blah. So something is still being watered down the hill here that we need to know. Is just a devil into this thing here that is honored that we need to know?
And Mr. So, this is what I'm coming in to say. You and I were not in a meeting when President Weah, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and Bernie Samuka'S sat down there. They were three there. They had a discussion, and he came up, put his chest on, and said, "Hey, we will reimburse the soldiers. My government is responsible." He did not explain the money came from NGO, these are the legal ramifications. We need to do this. We need to do that. He did not explain. He just came and say, "Hey,
Who screwed up then?
But that's why I'm calling it the political
Look,
which one? The president.
gentlemen,
The president.
excuse me with your kumbaya here this afternoon. Who screwed up? Who did? That's not what I'm concerned with.
But what you concerned with?
My concern, Pa George, is this. I understand your explanation. What happened in the background, in the back door, that's not my concern. My concern, the president told us he's the father of the nation to say, yes, I'm taking responsibility of it. Because he have already had a meeting with a clear understanding what have happened. And because of that, he was quite certified. Yeah, Dr. Weah is not a little kid. He's a responsible person.
Tonight, you don't know now.
And so when you come up with that kind of decision, that means you have already agreed on it. So the point here, folks, I'm not here tonight to cave into any of you. The point here, enough is enough. This president and this government need to stop. If you're flocked during the election, try and come back to the same people. The president is still popular. Come back to the same people to say, I understand your cry. How can we move this country together? Instead, you're going around trying to pick here and there. You were flogged massively in Lofa County. You were flogged massively in Grand Bassa County. You were flogged massively in Moserata County. Now you want to get something to say, oh, look at Eugene. All these people on Facebook today talking about roll. What roll? These people should be ashamed of themselves.
Bro, why you can't even call your own county?
No, he don't want to call his own county. You know what happened?
Why can't you call Grangie there?
No.
Because Grangie is coming along. Grangie will soon understand why Dr. Weah and his people were flocking Masrata County. Grangie will come along. Grangie is not going to be the sleeping dog forever. They're going to understand. But at this point, we're fighting to get them to understand what is happening. We're not on board yet.
But so what is interesting here too, Pa George was talking, and we're going to open the phone lines to give our audience the full opportunity to participate in this conversation. This is a national conversation. But how can we also to reconcile that the defense minister in the 2018 January 9 edition, he admitted, Defense Minister Brandon Samuka'S admits lapses in expanding the armed forces of Liberia soldiers contribute.
But that does not mean he's guilty, Mr. So admitting
to the story here. Why can't he come and tell it?
No, but if he say I admit that the money was spent, perhaps not the way it was intended. But the government is saying that he spent the money personally. This is why they're going after him. And that's not true.
Mr. So, the three officials of government personally in this government testify about the money and say the then minister did not use the money personally. The current chief of staff, the defense minister, and the other lady all testify.
Yeah, because they all were working. Yeah.
Yeah, they all testify, and those were government witnesses. They took the stand for the government. They testify that yes, the money was used for the armed forces of Liberia. But my question is, all these things, if President Weah had not made that statement at that time, and just say, you know what happened? We'll look at the matter, we'll send the matter to the court, let the court decide. Today, I would have been saying Brandon Samuka'S should make full restitution. I would not even talk about political wish on. But when the president said his government was taking full responsibility.
Was the president's decision, do you think, can one make a guess game here? The decisions of the president, he is coming, and we say, and the person that got the information is a credible person who the very CDC government hired and helped to do the transition process. There was a full disclosure on the part of Helen Johnson Sirleaf, guys that were going up because they knew down the road this thing would have come out here and made it known. Do you think the decisions of the president at the time, okay, GOL, my government, going to take responsibility, was it influence on the high political scale?
No, it wasn't influence.
His decision. What are somebody maybe?
It wasn't. Let me tell you. President Weah, he got some mafia blood in him. Look, Mr. Toll,
Oh my goodness.
he got some mafia blood, but many people don't see it. President Weah is very calculated. He knew that he would need Bernie Samuka for Lofa. So that's why he said, hey, I will take care of it. To him now, that tomorrow when he called Bernie Samuka, he said, hey, come, hold the Lofa for me. Bernie Samuka will say, because Bernie Samuka will say, oh, if I do so, the man will push the button. And that's exactly what President Weah did. Because after they considered Bernie Samuka and Bernie Samuka, he could now go on a CDC ticket. That when the president ordered that the case should go, they should resume the case for prosecution.
So, meaning the president fooled Bernie Samuka?
Oh, he did. That was a calculation.
Blocko, you agree with that?
That was political.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to go that far, but this is what I'm going to say. What happened here, that I stated from the beginning, that the blame goes around. The first people that I would blame is the lawyers. You can't take these things lightly. These are very, very, very much.
Why you blame the lawyers?
No, the reason why I blame the lawyer is this. First thing is when Bernie Samuka'S decided to go and run, they went to the Supreme Court, granted him the permission to run.
Okay.
The Supreme Court did not say we're giving you permission to run and that we will rule against the government. That wasn't an agreement. The lawyers should know to say, look. No, hold on, Pa Josh. To say, look, you're getting into this race. You're getting, the lawyers should say you're getting into this race, knowing full well that you have already been found guilty in the lower court. That's the lawyer job, to know what in the last 4 or 5 years, how many times have the Supreme Court ruled against the lower court? Not only necessarily this thing.
Samson Toll, do you think it's a total court we are talking about here?
Mr. So you go by statistics, you go by data.
No, hold on. Don't tell me that here, okay? Don't tell me that.
No, Mr. So, you hold us, you hold yourself. You right now, you're supposed to be a journalist. Please keep your job. The first thing here is this. This is a data situation. You look at the record. So what has happened with the Supreme Court within the last 2-3 years?
Wait a minute. What are you telling us here? Are you saying it was the responsibility of the lower court to have told maybe?
No. The lower court. Listen to me again. Hold on, Pa Josh. Let me explain myself. Pa Josh, please give me a minute. The lower court ruled against Bernie Samuka.
Yes.
Bernie Samuka and his lawyer decided they're going to appeal to the Supreme Court. That's their constitutional right.
Okay.
Now, the second issue here that threw this whole thing off a while was the fact that Bernie Samuka now want to seek senatorial position in Lofa County. When he went to Supreme Court, first he was being denied, and he went to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gave him the right to run. Right. But the Supreme Court did not say, we're not going to rule against you. The Supreme Court were able to separate the case against him from the lower court to that of the electoral process. Now, my point that I'm making, and I'm not a lawyer, but the lawyers, in order to be a good lawyer, hold on, let me finish the counsel. No, hold on. You see, this is what you do. This is what you do as a conservative. That's what you people do. You, as a conservative, will not allow the liberal to express himself. You're trying to hijack my position this afternoon. Now, let me finish this. So the lawyer, if in order for you to be a good lawyer, you tell your client, say, look, the Supreme Court, within the last 2 or 3 years, we have gone through the data, and the data has revealed to us that the Supreme Court really turned against the lower court. And let the man make the judgment. And perhaps that happened. I don't know. But if that happened and Bernie Samuka decided I'm going to run anyway, then he is responsible by trying to take advantage of the Liberian judiciary system. That also is bad. But my main point here tonight is to have the government, knowing for the word that what they're doing is wrong, to go after a person because you want to keep power by all costs. You got flocked so many times all over the country. Now you want this position in Lofa County. Look what they have done to Lofa people done. They have put Lofa County in a constitutional mess because they want power. CDC should be ashamed of themselves.
Mr. Toll, it's not that Bernie Samuka not listen to her lawyer or her lawyer were bad. You have the government witness came and testified against the government herself. 3 of them testified against the government herself. The issue is, if you're trying to tell me that it was politically motivated, then I will see with you. Here is the thing. The Election Commission gave the ruling on Friday. The same Friday, the call that the Supreme Court going to get a verdict on Monday. Look at timing of these things happening. These are the things, what I'm sticking to here and what I'm saying, this is a political witch hunt. I have repeated it over and over. The president did not come out to explain to the Liberian people. At the time, I said my government want to take full responsibility of this case, make full restitution. But at this point, it had reached, maybe I got some other document I have seen, the government now, or we have a change of mind. We must hold people accountable who did so. He did not do it. He did not do anything but only to say, after Bernie Samuka'S has said that the CDC-led institution approaching, and because he refused, it is now why the president is now ordering that the case should go to retrial.
Can one make a guess game here? This case is being heavily influenced by the executive based on the information that we know. And why did the legal team of Honorable Samuka'S did not come forceful to make this argument? The data, or I wonder there was a complete or full disclosure of everything. I'm wondering.
I have not seen the brief. I have not seen the brief of the case. I have not seen the ruling. So, and I didn't follow the trial to the extent because I don't think what the Supreme Court is now open to the public. So I don't know what was the argument that the lawyer made. We are not seeing those things in the paper.
Well, are you saying, or is anybody saying here, to 2 of you, I just want a yes or no, even though it's not a Sherman Brown type of question on EOTV here. Is anybody have in the back of their mind that this decision or the actions of the Supreme Court today is being heavily influenced by the executive?
No,
Yes.
Mr. So, no.
I would say so.
Let me take it, Josh. Mr. So, let's look at this case here very critically. From the beginning, Bonnie Samuka'S and his people were very sincere. In fact, the first lower court judge, she went and recused herself for the mere fact that she was friends with Bonnie Samuka'S. Bonnie Samuka'S and his people did not object. That means they really wanted to show that this is nothing to worry about. Because if this is Liberia we're talking about, for Christ's sake. But the mere fact that they agree, fine. So as Mr. Josh is saying, they went to court, and the the witnesses for the government testified that this money was not utilized for personal gain. Okay, maybe technical shop, that's fine. But when they went to the lower court ruled against them. And here's another thing that they did that people don't understand. The lawyer of Bonnie Samuka'S, they decided to tell the judge they want a bench trial. They don't want jury trial.
So what was the purpose? What was the rationale behind that?
Well, the reason, and like I said, I'm not a lawyer. So please forgive me.
Perhaps you get I think you are getting some legal tips, and that's why you're bringing these.
Oh, okay, or whatever. You know, I'm a very brilliant guy anyway, so I'm not worried about it. But no, on a very serious note, the lawyers, they decided they wanted a bench trial. They don't want a jury trial. Now, the disadvantage of not having a jury trial is an individual who's going to look at the case and make an individual judgment. Whether if you have a jury trial, you got people that are going to disagree, and perhaps you might have a hung jury.
Okay, then
and his people, in their good wisdom, I don't know why, they decided to go with a bench trial, and the bench trial turned against them.
There you go. That was the basis of my questions. I was wondering why the legal team of Honorable Samuka'S took that sort of approach. What were some of the factors that they were considering, to go that sort of route, Pa George?
Well, they were looking from this point that we have all the government witnesses that they brought their own witnesses and had testified against them. So that was the point. That's what they were relying on. But I think I agree with Mr. Tour on that point. They should have gone for a jury trial and a bench trial is just a judge. A jury trial.
And that's what a question. Then I have to be monotonous, but I will come back to this question: who screwed up? Because that way they should have gone to jury, and considering all of the factors, if he, Honorable Samuka'S, knew or what we are getting, that he was approached by the CDC government or whatever he said. I don't know anybody from the CDC or the party ever debunked that.
No, they never.
I do not know. So I see that as a sort of gossip of gentleman talk or political talk, correctness. Anybody can say anything to get away with it. So why they decide to go that sort of route? If they knew all of these sort of shady things went on, and
Mr. So,
our government,
Mr. So, as a human being, let me just say that as a human being, your instinct is to be truthful. Now, Bonnie Samuka'S and his people, they knew very well that this government have nothing because of the previous engagement and the previous agreement. So having that,
I'm going to interrupt you, Mr. Toll. I throw the number out. Let's see what ordinary Liberian has to say. Okay, I have a number here, 609 number 7227. Call out. What's your name and where you calling from? Are you there? Caller, are you there?
Mr. So.
Yeah, good evening.
I'm here.
Okay, good. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Orlando. I'm calling from New Jersey.
Okay, Orlando, hopefully you place a phone call to Chris Christie. I'm not sure whether he were aware of our laws, but let me just bring you in here. What you say in this whole thing here?
Okay. I just got on the show and listening to in the studio there with you. It really shocked me because Bonnie Samuka'S had one of the lawyers was a former associate justice. Okay, he had a lawyer that teaches at the law school in Liberia, who understands the laws, who was sitting on the Supreme Court bench before. So for them to sit over there and say these things that they are saying, I mean, it really surprised me. Okay, if you're having a matter in a court and the lower court ruled against you, and then you run to the Supreme Court to file in a state order that the lower court should stay away from that identical case until they can look into it and decide and send it back to the lower court, all right, to implement whatsoever judgment they pass. It doesn't mean that you are not guilty, or it doesn't mean that they will not go back to the case, right? And if you file a state order, you have a right under our law to do anything that you want to do. While you are running the election, the Supreme Court couldn't stop him because he was filed a state order already. If you file a state order, it means that in a much the Supreme Court did not give any ruling within the state order before the election, it means that you are not guilty until the Supreme Court can give the ruling.
Okay. All right.
Then,
yeah, go ahead. Let's make it brief so that we can have the other
the little time I stay in the Supreme Court and I work there, the little experience that I have, I'm not a lawyer. Okay, but for your student girls to be making like an accusation that the government wish something that Bonnie Samuka'S, it don't make no sense at all. It don't make no sense at all.
All right, thank you so much.
It don't make no sense. So they should stop that. I mean, we expect other people.
No, don't say, but hold on. Don't say it doesn't make. I agree with you. You are entitled to your opinion.
People will listen to.
I just want to ask you.
Our elders are talking.
No, I just want to ask you.
People,
I just want to ask you.
Traveling into the country is wrong.
No. Hold on. Let me just ask.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Views expressed here does not in any way represent the views of the management and staff of Liberia Public Radio, but we do facilitate this hard-call conversation here. Thank you so much. Let's keep it brief as possibly we can so that everybody will be part of the conversation. So 267 number 5983. 1 minute, please. What's your take?
Yeah. I just want to ask three of you because you guys are the experts. Have you ever seen on this planet that a government witness somebody will So the government, 18 winners, will testify against the government and they found the person guilty. That's my question. That's the only question that I have for 3 of you.
Okay, then I will go to the other people who have their question and then we can answer that. 703 number 8058. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Morris Nibala. I'm calling from Virginia.
Okay, welcome from the Commonwealth.
Yes.
I know the laws are
thank
take
you.
on that. The laws are take on our side too. What's up, my man?
Yeah, well, look, I got you clear talking, and I just want to make a comment here, very brief. I think for peace sake, for Liberia to move forward with a hard feeling, they should have stopped some guy from running, not to be a senator from the beginning. If we are playing games like that, we are tired.
I didn't hear what you said, man. You said what he should have done? He should have.
I'm saying if we are new that he didn't want some guy to be the senator, he should not have gone and agreed to the discussion they had. I don't want to go into it. But what I'm saying here right now is for the peace of Liberia, for to move forward, the president needs to stop in and reverse whatsoever the Supreme Court has said and let Samuka'S go back, occupy a senatorial position for local county. He has given premises to so many people. I don't want to name people that you all know.
No, we don't have any secret here. Put it out there so the public will know.
Then you remember Samuka'S is a former defense minister. He's knowing nationally and internationally. Why hurt the man? Make a man to do things that you're not supposed to do. And happy between Taylor and Doe. All the things going on today, when Taylor got angry with Doe, he took his stand. For the peace of Liberia, we are step in and resolve this matter as soon as
So before I let you go, if we are steps in now and I override the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, the final arbiter of the land, would that be a good precedent? Don't you think other people are going to come back to say, wait a minute, why he did this? Don't you see it as a digging up of history? Or will it be a good thing, good way to go? You think so?
He will be correcting his own error. The error that he made from the beginning, when he said you're going to take full responsibility, the guy to handle, approached Samuka'S to run on a CDC ticket, and Samuka'S refused, and he gave the authorization to make him be guilty.
Okay.
Yes, he can reverse it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to be coming to you. Let me go to this number here, familiar number, with contributing here, 713 number, 3953. Are you there, caller?
I'm here. This is Nankemo. I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
I know. Come on. What's up?
Well, I'm very, very happy today. Especially the news that coming from Liberia concerning Mr. Samuka'S.
You happy?
I'm happy that we finally got a guilty verdict from the Supreme Court upheld the ruling from the lower court. I know the AFL soldiers who have been crying for the pension money. I remember back when I was in Liberia, this whole incident or this situation was going on there. The AFL were crying. They needed a pension money. A friend of mine was in the AFL, and they all were crying for this money. There was no redress. So today to hear that Samuka'S is finally found guilty and he will be serving his sentence, I got a 2-year sentence.
No, it's on condition too. It's on condition. If he's if the restitution, if he pays 50% of that, they're going to give him time. Is that enough or what?
For me, I'm just disappointed in the time they gave him. They should have given him 10 years and send him to grant that to the correctional palace over there so he can serve the 10 years there. There's no need to.
I think you and something to want to force a partner.
Then you pay back money. Give him 10 years, he can pay back his money while he's serving 10 years. And I hear people say political wish on or the president had a conversation behind closed door for you to go on to this ticket. All the information they're providing, those are closed loop information. Even the public will know.
The president spoke in the public.
We should start saying for peace sake, we have to do the peace sake. In the absence of justice, there can be no peace. You know how many AFL are crying for pension money, and in like pension money is small. So let's forget about all this thing about political wishing. If it is a political wishing when the next government comes in power, I know there are other people in the government doing some shitty things. They will also prosecute them too. What we should be saying right now, we should be clapping for the Supreme Court and telling them thank you for booking a criminal. The great people of Lofa County cannot be represented by a criminal.
Okay.
I think it is time that Lofa people start to think about other sending a petition to NEC or whatever authority so that they can revoke that particular criminal and then they start thinking about who else can go represent them. That's what I have to say on the matter. I have nothing else to say, but I'm very happy that Samuka'S is finally guilty. And it's a serve as a warning to any other political individual who have shitty deeds in past government. Before you put your hand in the ring, you should know what you put in your hands.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Yeah. Okay, 719 number. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, hold on 1719. I think there's an international call on WhatsApp. Just hold on, I will come right back to you. This person been sending a message. Okay, please just do that favor for this caller here. Let me bring you this international caller here. 86 number. Are you there? 6713. What's your name and where you calling from?
Good morning from my end. Good morning. How are you? I'm calling from Asia. Calling from the People's Republic of China.
Oh, the People's Republic of China. How are you? How is everything out there, my dear brother?
It's challenging. We are still locked down again for this coronavirus thing.
Well, okay. All right. Do everything possibly you can to keep yourself safe. Go ahead. Thank you for being part of the program.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is LSCD Diso. The issue about the Brandon Samuka'S issue for me, I think the Supreme Court more likely like they are joking. They are not serious. Because to fight corruption, you need to fight corruption. You need to be serious to fight corruption. In my mind, the Supreme Court is supposed to let Brandon Samuka'S serve 2 years imprisonment and also pay the fine equally. Then you're ready to fight corruption. But you say the member go home and look for it in 6 months time when you not get it, you go to jail and that joke. You joking with corruption. That's why the corrupt people in our country, they be honored by the churches are father of the year, mother of the year, and all of that, and people be cherishing.
Oh my goodness. I know, right?
Right here, South Korea, the former president, South Korea, the former president, you are caught in corruption or conflict of interest, you serve the jail sentence and you pay the fine. You serve the jail sentence and you pay the fine. For that, you see people will get straight with corruption, people will get afraid. But suddenly you go do everybody clapping for you, people can't in your defense. You got look, some of the old people need to be very serious to sit on the platform and say, look, that witch hunt, and if I said they should forgive the people that back on be back on be back.
No. I ain't say back on be back on.
Protecting every day, that back on be back on the former ever carry home. If we were not serious to move the country forward, we all say we should carry the country forward, but then we put sympathy above our own interest. Why should Brandon Samuka'S alone take away 1 million that's supposed to be for a group of people? Why do you think so? And these are the people we clap for. These are the people we cherish in our society. These are the people the churches honor. These are the people the society honor. These are the people we give all the honor to all the media institutions. We carry certificate to them, honor them, all those kind of things. And I think it's disappointing for our society if we say we're ready to fight corruption. Let's be serious about it. Brandon Samuka'S should be handcuffed away, go to jail, and pay the fine equally. Like that, when I want to do it, when I come from study, I want to do it, I'll be afraid that I would know what they put to the Brandon Samuka'S. But if Brandon Samuka'S did it, and he went to the Atayesha and pick up some young people to go on the radio and defend him and do that one and do that one, at the end of the public thing around it began misviewed in the public. They mean we're not serious to fight corruption. But if somebody is corrupt and you whoever attached to him be arrested equally, everybody will take corruption very serious, and what belongs to the citizen will go to the citizen. We talk about lepos. I come in. We talk about lepos being on, people breaking lepos down, all the kind of things, putting that anything to politicize. These are things that are carrying the country backward. Other people fought war and they are moving ahead with their country. We fought war and bring ourselves down. Everything it's not about George Weah. Until George Weah can die and his children die, next 3 generations of George Weah, they will not go cool. We will not be doing these things to ourselves. So we need to stop. In my mind, your show is very good. I've been following it, but what I think is that we're ready to fight corruption. We should fight corruption. We're ready for development. We should make sure that whosoever, if you say send 1 cent to like, bro, whosoever, portion of that money should be punished. If Natana Blambo never punished because they mismanage money at EPA organization, they need to be prosecuted. You can't just punish people and say go home and go sit down and got the money without understanding you for all of that. People must be prosecuted, and that serves as deterrent. Other people will not do it. That's our contribution I have to your show, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and keep yourself safe. We pray that everything goes well there, please. Okay. Thank you so much for participating, and thank you for. So much. All right. Okay, so let me go to these guys here, folks. I just want to get this reaction. Okay, 719. I'm so sorry that the guy called from my channel, the People's Republic. So let me come to you. Are you there? 719 number.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being patient, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Zina D. Third, in the corner from Colorado. I have a question real quick before I make my comment. Do we have the proceeding that explain the basis on which Mr. Samuka'S was found guilty?
Well, that you said the proceeding, you mean from the court itself?
The proceeding or the ruling?
That says why he was guilty. Do we have that?
Well, unfortunately, I do not have any written document based on only things that we are reading that is coming. So I hope to see that official. Hopefully, they can make that official docket from the court published on those sort of various counts.
Yes, that reduces how substantial the discussion supposed to be, because most of our analysis could be tailored to why he was found guilty.
One of the charges was money laundering.
The government provided witnesses. And
money laundering. One of the charges was money laundering.
Substantial information from those witnesses to alleviate Mr. Samuka'S. And some people say that this might not be a witch hunt. Even within the absence of what the proceeding is, the basis on which we found guilty, I, in my perception, do believe that it was a witch hunt based on previous cases that have similar substance. For example, on the issue of the 16 billion that got missing, they caught those guys, charged, they put in jail. A couple other guys. What happened to them? They got kicked out. They got kicked out of jail.
Hold on.
When the money that was missing, way more than what the situation of Bernie Samuka'S. But because he was the president's son and a couple other guys who were involved, based on a connection, I believe they got set free. So when you compare that incident that those guys walk away free after investing millions of dollars, billions in Bernie dollars, into what Bernie Samuka'S did, how we not say that he was a witch hunt? I believe he was a witch hunt if we make those comparisons. Because people commit a similar crime, they walk away. And then other people commit the same crime, they get him prosecuted. So that's a definition of witch hunt. If people in similar circumstances can get away with it, and people being witch, I call it. But
so what does that tell us here? Before I let you go quickly, what does that tell us about the judicial system in Liberia as well?
I don't know that the judiciary system is very responsible. The Liberia in general has an institutionalized problem. The problem is not a sector problem like the finance minister, the judicial, the supreme, all of no. The whole Liberia system need to be deinstitutionalized and revamped. We got an institutional problem, it's not a sector problem. This thing can be thrown in any part of the government. It's not a particular people doing these things. The whole institution is institutional corruption going in Liberia. That's how I look at it. I don't just hold like the police or other department responsible because of certain malpractices going on in that department. I don't hold that responsible. If corruption has been institutionalized, these are just the raw material that the branches put out. These sort of branches within the government. So I don't think we should hold somebody responsible. We need to revamp the entire system and refix it. That's happening.
Okay.
That's my analysis.
Thank you so much for participating. And okay. All right. 267 number, are you there? Before I go back to my callers, 267 number 5873.
Yes,
okay, go ahead, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Vab King, and I'll call you from the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Good afternoon to you and also your studio guests.
Vab, I love your name, my man. Vab King. How many counties you alone represent here?
I represent 2 counties. Exactly, that's the kind of carry.
I love that Vab King. I think I better take G-Dab Maryland King. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay. Yeah, but thank you for having me on the show. And actually called in to throw in my 1 cent on the basis of the issue of the political hunt and other things. I really see no, connection between these two things to link the situation, the ruling of the Supreme Court to be a political, let's say, or witch hunt on the basis that even if the government or the president they have had a discussion, as he said, even though there is no proof out there, we're only hearing it today.
The president spoke about it.
Why it is that
it's on tape.
It wasn't discussed out there all along this time. But today, we're hearing it because the ruling is finally against this man after thorough adjudication in our competent higher court system in the land. Decision I will rule first from the lower court and then upheld upon appeal at the Supreme Court. So these are discussions that just brought folk to manipulate the entire situation. It is because if we all preach for accountability all along on our various platform, like the leg of my own old man over there, Mr. Toh. Mr. Toh have preached for the establishment of war crime code. Mr. Toh have preached for accountability.
No, Mr. Toh never preached for war crime code.
But the problem we have in our country, like the brother said, is institutionalized. It's like across everywhere in our sector. You will ask for the right thing to be done. And when the right thing is done, once it against your personal interest, you see that right thing is not the right thing, even though that's what you are asked for over the year. And that is the right thing that's supposed to be done. And that's why exactly I'm seeing coming from the angle of Mr. Toh, which is not fair for our society in our forward march. It's very wrong. I heard somebody talking about the president should go and change the decision of the Supreme Court. And I believe if you call that person and ask them that question, we're talking about the same thing. If the president attempt to even call the Supreme Court and say that decision may change it, you know what the people will say tomorrow? They have already started calling him a dictator. Then he take upon himself to overturn or ruling. Where anywhere in a democratic setting that the president have a power to overturn even a lower court decision? Where? So where in the world? And you have one court who call and said the president should go and change it because the president was the one that influenced the process. How can we have this kind of discussion where we say we want to move the country forward and we are all advocating for a better justice system? But when justice is done, served, only because it's against our interest, we turn it to be a political witch hunt, we turn it to be justice not served and other things. So I believe that these are things that we really got to do away with.
Okay, thank you so much.
So moving forward, somebody said other people committed similar crime and they are moving around. Mr. So, everybody cannot be prosecuted at the same time, the same day, regardless of the magnitude of the situation. We saw the issue of the Capitol Hill here.
There's a fullness of time, eh?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time, but I think we got to start discussing this issue, with nationalistic, opinion instead of the sentiment and also our personal attachment to people that have been affected legally.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, let me go to the team, been patiently listening to views expressed on this network. Does not in any way represent the views of the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio, but we have to facilitate this high call conversation here. So, Mr. Toh, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Emperor George, are you listening to a few callers here? So let's wrap it around your neck here this evening. There are diverse views, people coming from different perspective based who what their own political affiliations or their interests, their ties, or even on the taking it from the approach of Liberia. But what is the most takeaway from these callers?
It's the same, most of them expressing sentiment, not from a factual point of view. I heard someone saying they never heard the president talking about that he took full responsibility of the money at the discussion at the time. Now, that means you don't follow the news. So if you don't follow the news, you're not hear it. The president said it. And let me just say, I'm one of those who are against corruption. If the Supreme Court is the higher land in the country, if it's ruled that Samuka'S is guilty, he should serve, turn, pay full restitution, I got nothing against it. But what we are saying is the circumstances surrounding the case. That is what's more are speaking. If I say a political witch hunt, because I know some of your listeners is still listening. If you went and told somebody what happened here, don't hold this person. I will take full responsibility of what happened. I will go to my people and tell them I am responsible. Nobody should look up to this person. Then later on you come back, you say, "Oh no, I put some people."
I'm wondering here. I'm wondering, and I hope to get somebody with the legal mind, to give us the full context or the interpretations of that. If to proxy the affairs of Mr. George or something to alleged crime, let something to go. I'm going to take responsibility to whether is on a governmental level or individual level. We need to draw that lines of demarcation. Whether there was some sort of what is a legal banding? So what is the legal implication? Or was it sort of a gentleman's arrangement? Okay, I'm going to take care of it. And knowing full well, in the long run, if he appears before the court of competent jurisdiction, all arguable or tangible will be requested. I don't know how this was done, on what circumstances, what condition, what were the term of reference and all of that. I'm not sure whether we're taking all of those into consideration. I don't know whether that is somehow acceptable if it goes before the law. That's where
but Mr. Todd, there were no terms of reference or anything like that. This is not just an ordinary person. If the president of the United States say,
so can he really fight this?
He can fight the court. That's the highest court. The court has ruled.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Todd.
The court has ruled.
Yes. Yeah, the court has ruled. Interestingly, there's a second version of the now. The ruling establishment or the ruling party, the coalition of the party is also calling for, you understand what I'm saying? The coalition is also telling to the Board of Commissioners to take a look at the, to overturn that of course. If we reach to that level, what is it telling us? What is it projecting? What is this driving us to?
Yeah, Mr. So I don't think that's going to hold anyway. But this is what I got to say on this. And I heard many of our brothers calling and making a comment, and we appreciate it. These are every one of us offering our opinion, and I respect their opinion as well. But this is what I want to say. I'm not here defending Samuka'S or what he has done. The problem here that I have is that when the president and the former president, the current president, and the minister himself, they met and have a discussion. And once you agree to say, I'm going to take responsibility of it, you have to. Now, the law, on the other hand, can come in and look at a case and say, I'm not even going to look at what the president promised you as long as it's not even written to cancel that. I would take the Justice Department can come out, and that's exactly what it did. To say we're not even looking at what the president promised.
Exactly. That's that's where I was driving the legal implication, or whether it was just some sort of gentleman arrangement that they had.
Right. And so now, as the president of the Republic of Liberia, that he should have stepped in immediately. Because remember, the Justice Department
or after. What you think?
No. Because that was not done in isolation, Mr. So. They planned the case before they even submitted the case to the court. So it was clear understanding within the government. So remember, the Justice Department is underneath the executive. Right. So the executive have the privilege. They can say, you know what, this case have already been settled. We don't need to go that far. Number one. The second thing is, since they decided to do that, he didn't step in and decide to go to court. They have the right to go to court. If they're arguing and they find, and the judge find that their argument is not persuasive enough and rule against Samuka'S, the right thing they did was to go to Supreme Court, which is right. And that's not the argument. I'm not arguing as to whether Samuka'S has the right to go to court or not. And once the Supreme Court has ruled, that's for me, that's it.
Yeah.
Now, another interesting thing here is this. There's nothing in the Constitution that now going to have Samuka'S removed from the Senate. He has been confirmed twice. His senatorial candidate in the fact that he has won. He has been confirmed twice. So there's nothing in the Constitution to say if somebody is found guilty, having won the election, that he can be removed. Now, the interesting thing here, instead of the CDC and the coalition going to the NEC and asking to have the election review, they're wasting their time. The only thing that I can see here, most likely, that will hold little water is to allow Mr. Samuka'S to sit, if he doesn't go to jail, to sit, and then you bring charges in the Senate as being someone who is corrupt and try to impeach him.
So,
hold on, Mr. Toh.
Why you are talking about now some sort of ethics violations to call
some similar stuff like that. Now, if you do, I'm not too sure how that's going to hold, because that's something that happened before he was seated. So I'm not too sure how that's going to hold. Now, the other thing that I want to point out here, the fact that there's nothing in the Constitution that forbids Samuka'S to sit. Samuka'S will find the Million Plus and pay. Once that happens, he's going to the Senate.
This is what Mr. Williams is saying. Pajoy, before you respond, one of our viewers, because let's bring this out here. Those who don't want to call and some of their points and argument does not represent LPR here, but we have to talk about it because of the time. This is what Mr. Anthony Williams is saying. Moral rectitude can remove him. That's
the point I'll come to make now. But CDC cannot make that case.
No.
On morality, CDC cannot make that case because they don't have the standing. When I mean they don't have the standing, you got the deputy speaker who is a convicted criminal. For Nanti Kofa on CDC ticket law.
You're coming forward apart now with something with the liberal.
Hold on there. So
I don't think you and your liberal want to go along now.
That's why I say I'm an independent now. Yeah, it's the thing here. It's the thing here. CDC cannot make that argument. The people of Lofa must make that argument if they deem it fit to say, hey, we elected you, but because of some criminalities, you are no more fit to represent us. They can present that petition to the House or to the Senate. But CDC should not be the one to make that argument because CDC, you got Fonantis Kova, a convicted criminal, what you're talking about it.
And good, you were talking about it.
Yes.
And liberal progressive was very much definitive.
Yes.
A strong defense that he is strength. And so he can go
Brandon Samuka'S now,
president of the Republic of Liberia.
Yeah. So Brandon Samuka'S now, as far as I'm concerned, Brandon Samuka'S doesn't have the moral aptitude because he has been found guilty for money laundering and mismanagement of funds that were entrusted to him. That's the ruling of the Supreme Court. So therefore, Brandon Samuka'S is a convicted criminal. If you are from Bonkana, I'll be asking the people of Bonkana to ask the Election Commission to rescind that decision.
Wow.
Gentlemen, I hate to bust your bubble.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
You guys bubble. But let me just say this. Brandon Samuka'S is going nowhere. He's going to go serve in the Senate. Here's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying this. Lofa County going to look in the Senate. You got people like Prince Johnson sitting in the Senate. Lofa County going to look at the entire process to say that we were disrespected by this government. We're not going to have any kinds of petition coming from Lofa County to remove our son. It's not going to happen.
Now, let me say,
CDC is wasting their time.
Let me say, yes, a challenge here.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Pa George, I beg you. Let me go to the men from all of the counties. Uncle P, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
This is Uncle P, the man from all the counties. You won't believe it. Just what you struck on, just a while ago. That's why we're coming to speak on. What they did is not fair to the people of Lofa County. Even though I'm not okorum with the legal ramifications surrounding the case with Bani Samuka. But what they did, it is not fair to the people of Lofa. So I think the only remedy so this
when you say what they did is not fair to the people of Lofa, what are you referring to?
Why did they allow the people of Lofa to elect their son as senator before the Supreme Court coming up with such a decision? If they knew they were supposed to come up with such a decision, that decision should have been made before the election.
No, but it's not in the purview within the Supreme Court to determine, say, okay, or any provision in the Constitution that will forbid him to have contested. So that was something. I don't think that was is in the rank and file of the court to say no, this person shouldn't go. Perhaps if the case was a court case where probably you have been sentenced, but the process was ongoing and only we now just getting to know the verdict.
Well, being that we just know the verdict now and the people of Lofa have elected their son, all I think that can happen now is for Bani's coming card to make a payment arrangement. Let him agree with whatsoever the charges, and he make payment arrangement. He's the senator of Lofa County and make payment arrangement, making the payment. This is done all over the world.
Okay, yeah, all over the world. Other people are saying the president should intervene. Is that a good and approachable idea for the president to intervene?
Yeah. Listen, the president represents the nation. People need to be conscientized in Liberia that the president is not just representing the CDC party. He's president for the Republic of Liberia.
My question is, should the president intervene?
That's what I'm saying. Yes, he should intervene because he's the president of the nation. That's what I'm saying.
Will it serve as a good? Yeah, I understand. Will it serve as a good deterrent as well?
Yeah. Well, if they did it for Ellen Johnson's children, Ellen Johnson's son, why can he do it for Bani Samuka?
So we should be in a sort of revolving. We should be in a sort of revolving cycle, and we expect Liberia. So what I just have to ask the questions. We have to make sure that we have our audience to get a sense of what we're doing. Okay, Uncle Pete, thank you so much.
Sir. Mr. So, let's look at this thing from another perspective here, very quickly, please. Quite recently, about maybe a month or so ago, the U.S. Department of State, I believe, accused the Liberian judiciary system of being corrupt. Now, they are paying close attention to what's happening in Liberia. This Chief Justice is very keen and want the international community to respect the Supreme Court of Liberia. And I'm speculating, but it's not too far-fetched.
He was tough on coming.
So the point that I'm trying to make, Mr. So, is this. Having had that kind of understanding that the lower court have ruled against this man, and having reviewed the lower court ruling, and there was nothing in there that will make the Supreme Court to question the legality of the lower court ruling. For that reason, they didn't even waste time to say we're going to look at it. Let's look at other. They don't even look at witnesses. Supreme Court is not there to say let's relitigate. So what comes from this lower court? This is it. Let's review it for the law as a law being violated. And if they check those things that no law was violated, they go with the lower court ruling. Simple. That's it.
We're not going to stay much longer here. We have a few minutes to go here. But let me ask this sort of questions bridge over troubled water here. Now we have the executive branch of government. We have the judiciary branch of government. We have the legislature. These are the three separate branches of government that governs, that is in charge of the government of the Republic of Liberia, with the executive runs the day-to-day affairs of the country. Now, here we are, we have 103 men and women, and most of them, like you call Fanatic Kofa and other folks who have even contested in United States. If we have these people as lawmakers, where is the credibility coming from? How can these people then fact check or hold the executive branch of government accountable to when we have people that we're going to be putting as lawmakers that we anticipate to draw a piece of legislation. I'm not sure where Samson Toe is smiling, whether he's angry with me or not. I'm not sure, or maybe he's looking at the comments. That's okay. If we have those sort of people here, what is it? What is a light? Is it turning on for us in terms of transparency and accountability for good governance?
Mr. So, let me say this, and this is why I say the Supreme Court ruling, for me, it should stand. And whatever punishment that Bernie Samuka'S should face, will face it. I know it has some political undertone, but if that's the court ruling, it should stand. And secondly, this case, I will be following it very closely to see whether the Supreme Court will enforce that decision. Because this is the precedent that we're going to set. And if Bernie Samuka'S goes to jail, it means that now we will start campaigning to move corrupt legislature from the Senate and House of Representatives. Because
I'm not sure whether the Liberal is in line with your argument. Are you in line with that?
That is the
No.
No,
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. You're going to have to wait your turn. Wait until the election term. If you want to remove anybody, you can do that. But you can't stay out short of that. You're going to campaign to remove 15 representatives and what have you. But that's besides the point. Mr. So, this is a very interesting, as you correctly pointed out, this is a very interesting case where you have all three branches of the government is now involved into establishing who has the legal or the moral fortitude to stand their ground. This is very interesting. You got people in the Senate who are also being accused of corrupt behavior. What do we do now? Another thing. The executive itself, they're not coming out of this thing clean. Their hand is full. So this thing is all over this place. All we can say is this. That Bernie Samuka'S, as an educated person, this guy going to raise the $1 million+ money and pay. Even if it means to make payment arrangement, he will do so. He's going to sit in the Senate, and then the CDC government will have some serious issue, because whatever comes out, that perhaps they won't count on Bernie Samuka'S to negotiate with.
The obstacle tied to the CDC government at the end of the day, based on what we know and what we see happening now, would there be some?
Excuse me, what do you say?
You said they would pay. Is that a vengeance? Or will be obstacles, impediment, or they are?
Mr. So, there's no way Bernie Samuka'S is going to leave out of this. A very embarrassing situation. This man is just a West Point graduate. He has friends here in the United States. You don't expect him.
So who created a scenario first?
No, hold on. We shouldn't be arguing. Oh, yeah, they come. Now they're going to show themselves. Let me get myself ready for this, because I know that
if you are West Point graduate, you mismanage people.
What does that have to do with
money?
So mismanagement does not equate to corrupt behavior.
Listen, they said money laundering. That's one of the charges. Mismanagement.
Yeah, but money laundering. Okay, if that's the charges, why would the government then accept the explanation from the beginning? And the explanation is not in
the explanation. Where's
the explanation from the previous head of the government?
So hold on 1 second. Do you think the government, or do you think the court buys into the explanation?
Excuse me?
The court. The government. We have government in government. The judiciary is a separate branch of government. So you are talking about hold on 1 second. You are trying to get on my nerves this evening now. The executive branch.
I am prepared for you. You guys bring it on. I'm ready. You're not going to push me out of here. Here's the point that I'm making. No, hold on. Here's the point I'm making. As a liberal progressive, as you know, I always look at things from a broad perspective. So you're not going to frighten me with your conservative idea, with your conservative partner, and things that you're going to frighten me. You're going to get on my nerve. Please, I'm willing to be on your nerves all night. But here's the point that I'm making. The honorable man, and let me use that word again, honorable man, He was duly elected. He didn't come to the position behind the closed door.
Okay, before we go here this evening,
they want this man out. They're going to have to find other way. There is nothing in the Constitution that's going to drive him out. This man will raise the money, the million plus, pay, and go serve.
Okay, so let me ask this question here. Yeah, go ahead, Pa George.
So the moral attitude, the moral part of this thing don't bother you. Because that's why you say hold on. Because that's why you say your friend Fernando Kova will be deputy speaker. You did not care about his criminal behavior. So then what message are you sending to the younger children?
Mr. Joyce, do I need to remind you? $16 billion. We don't know where it is. Do I need to remind you? $25 million map up. We don't know what happened. Do I need to remind you? The president came to power without declaration of his accent. Do I need to remind you, Mr. Joyce? No, you know these things.
You don't need to remind me much. You don't need to remind me. That's why I said the CDC is not.
Let me ask you: do you trust the legislature, the judiciary, the executive branch of government?
Yes, of course I do. Because they're supposed to build institution. They can fumble from time to time. That's okay. That's okay. This is how institutions are now debating the action of these people. Now we're debating the executive action, we're debating the lawmaker action, we're debating the judicial action. We're building the institution, Mr. Soul, if you don't understand that.
But how can you be
as a conservative? You don't understand it anyway.
In support of one of the callers that the president should intervene and undercut the decisions of the court?
No.
Do you want a decision?
It's none of his business. He stays out of it.
So you want a decision of the court to stand?
Of course.
But
so
if you
Mr. Samuka'S was to come to America and ask Liberians to raise money, I will be one of those that will contribute.
Yes, but let me ask you. If
to
you wanted
to raise the million plus, I will be one of those to contribute, even though I'm not from Lofa.
Or to pay back? You mean to pay back?
Yes. Because Dr. We are in the executive embarrassing himself, shamefully embarrass himself and embarrass the Republic of Liberia, and now trying to create confusion in Lofa County, which is shameful, very shameful.
Wow. I think this guy, the Grand Juda man, he's gonna be going through Lofa and come back and get on the main road to Banga before you go to Grand Juda.
Yeah.
What's your final state? What's your final message?
Let me say this, and I want to thank all our callers and listeners. But sometimes it's good to have some facts, and sometimes listen to people, don't misquote people, because what some of us say here is basically based on facts. When I said, President Weah said he took full responsibility, the video is there. If you check front page, it's there. It's not something that I'm making up. So if you have not heard it, maybe try to do some research and come back next time to disprove me. That was the point I was speaking from political vision, because when he said, don't touch this man, our government will take full responsibility.
Okay, man, it's better late than never. See who is coming in here, man. Something to yes.
Oh man, is that how you get it?
And the professor is just coming in. I don't know how the hell we're gonna handle this here. Is that why he said yesterday somebody are gonna put their foot in their mouth?
Yeah.
I saw the Liberal Progressive all decked up. I said, no, I gotta come on the show.
Now we are about to wrap up. I don't know how
I told you on this day it's kind of hard for me because I teach a class. I just got through teaching, and
okay.
I was just following the discussion, but it's always good to be.
As a matter of fact, this liberal here, I think there will be some sort of indictment too here from El Piera. Tonight is his night. For whatever reason, he chose not to come on tonight. I'm like, wait a minute, there's some sort of is it on purpose, deliberately, because he doesn't want Professor Zawo to talk about it? And then he was, Mr. Saul, can you say for me, say for you? And then later on, something rang in my ear, like, he used a word last night that you guys were going to put your foot in your mouth, but unfortunately, not knowing what was coming today. Right, Libra?
I'm not speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's better late than never. We have a few minutes yet, Professor. We will try to keep track of the time. Hey, what do you make of what happens today? People are calling that the president should intervene. The liberal side is a wish on, and the list goes on and on and on regarding Minister Samuka'S, now Senator Samuka'S, Senator Ile, or whatever. Is the CDC the ruling party? Do you think, is there any conversation? Would they go further to push this to base the arguments of the Supreme Court and maybe to nullify the result of the election? Because it seems to want to push it with the Board of Commissioners. Is that what you guys want to do?
No, I think only 2 members of the 5-man Supreme Court were appointed by the CDC, just 2 out of the 5. So the Supreme Court is not a very CDC-friendly institution. I think the Supreme Court is very, very much fair in their rulings. And we got to be very careful. I watched something happen in Liberia when I returned from the USSR. I think it was some case they were bringing against somebody there. And he sent his boys, that was, during the 5-man presidency, the Pentagon presidency. And one of these guys sent his boys to the Supreme Court and took the Chief Justice's desk and turned it upside down, and it disrupted the whole Supreme Court. And when a society reaches that level, that's become scary, because the Supreme Court is a very, very important and powerful organ of government. The decision of the Supreme Court are sacrosanct. The President of the Republic of Liberia should not ever venture with trying to intervene in the ruling of the Supreme Court. That's a constitutional issue. So you can't do so. Okay. And I tell you one thing, the CDC or President Weah did not put any pressure on the Supreme Court to rule the way they rule. The facts are there. These guys defrauded the government.
Is it true that the Liberal was arguing here quickly here? Is it true that there was some sort of gentleman arrangement, or do you remember at any point in time that the President of the Republic of Liberia, said that his government were going to take their responsibility to pay back? Do you remember that conversation ever?
But here's the thing. But whether the president said it or not doesn't absolve.
No, he said it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is that I don't remember. But George, I don't remember. If I remember, I will tell you it. But what I'm saying,
you'll not remember that. I mean, don't just go.
Okay. Let me say, based on the information I got from you, I want to think that the president said it. But I was now absolved Mr. Samuka'S and his cohorts from restituting the amount that was embezzled. The president was really trying to find a solution. So he said government would take on the responsibility to do it. It doesn't mean that the theft didn't take place. It doesn't mean that embezzlement didn't take place. It's just to assuage the concerns of the aggrieved. Why government pursue a settlement within the court. And that's what happened today.
Professor, let me ask you. If that was the statement the president made that, we take full responsibility while we pursue this court to the illogical conclusion in court, is that what the statement the president made?
But that's what the interpretation must be.
It wasn't the interpretation. That was no. Okay, that was your interpretation. But my interpretation was my interpretation. Right. The understanding of my interpretation.
I think the Liberal is having a nightmare here tonight.
My understanding and interpretation of the statement from the president was that he had been with the former president and the former minister of defense say, I'll not take full response. My government will make full restitution of the money. That's my interpretation. You can go. That's my own interpretation.
The president is a great steward. The president is a great steward of Liberian people resources. The president would not allow
Professor, please.
The president would not allow any one individual to embezzle such amount and go free. No, not his government. The previous government would have done it.
Is this a political advantage for the ruling establishment, Professor?
We don't get anything from this thing. I would have law for Brian Samuka'S to go to the Senate and see. I don't think he has the aptitude to be a good senator. So I would have loved to see him, become a jester at the Senate. So I have no problem.
Okay, so gentlemen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to call it night. What we're going to do, we're going to Samuel here on Sunday. Hopefully, we'll have more details of that. Who knows what his defense team going to be is speaking on that. The Liberal Progressive.
There's nothing can happen there. Again, the Supreme Court has ruled. You
Maybe
can't go for
we want to get more revelations. I was told by one of those within that work for the transition that there was a full disclosure. I don't know the details of that. And if that was the case, how come we got to this point here? But guys, we're going to call it for the rest of the night. The Liberal seems not to be going on now. I don't know why he used that word last night that your CDC were going to put foot in their mouth and not knowing.
They just did. They just did, Mr. Soul. They just did.
No, you're sounding so sorry for now, so we got to
you know.
Guys, I want to thank you so much for being part of today's program. We're going to be back here on Sunday. Tomorrow is what? Tomorrow is Wednesday. Oh, I'm going to be here.
No, tomorrow Tuesday.
Tomorrow what?
Tuesday.
Yeah, tomorrow is Tuesday. This guy asked me to say for him. He didn't even tell me thank you tonight for carrying on his program. Mr. Toll, can you tell me thank you, please, before we go?
Mr. Soul, you are a journalist. You don't tell me to tell you thank you for doing your job for the Liberian people.
So why you didn't say it in today?
Because I wanted you to question me on this topic. Because I really wanted to discuss this topic. I couldn't have discussed this topic the way I did tonight, talking by myself, because it will be a monologue. But in this case, it's a dialogue, and that's what I wanted.
So who won it?
I did.
Well, if Brani Samuka is listening, you should tell him to get in touch with Mr. Toll, because Mr. Toll said he will help Brani Samuka to raise funds to pay the money back.
That's my first. I think that he will be facing another suspension on LPR. That's not the work of a media to do that.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it in my capacity as a private citizen, Mr. Soul. You can't put no weight around on this one.
Then we'll let you go on the compulsory leave study after everything, and then maybe management can determine to bring you back.
Well, let me read something to you very quickly from some of your people here. Mr. Cook, he says Samuka'S must make payment arrangement, and we will assist him with the arrangement. This case must not come from taking him a seat. So a lot of people will be willing to pay.
Yeah, but let him serve a term. Let him serve a 2 year or whatever term, then he can come and go to the Senate.
But that's not how the ruling was. Either you pay or you go to jail.
Yeah,
so
but
you agree with that? You agree with that one? The way it was a portion, right?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, guys. I want to thank you so much for being here. We're going to be back here tomorrow. Wednesday evening for another conversation here. Thank you so much and have a pleasant. And to all our followers, our viewers, we say thank you so much. Mama G, better late than never. Thank you to all of you. If they're your first time following us here at LPR, this is what we do. More or less, we take a authentic approach and discuss this critical issue. And after we give everybody the opportunity, we do not sanction views. We give everybody the opportunity to express their views and opinion, because it's all about Liberia. But I'm wondering, we have the executive to be corrupt, we have the judiciary to be polluted, and we have the legislature to be, then I don't know where we are heading as a country. And we have other folks here, like the Liberal, who will be in defense. He said, well, Fanatic Kofa can be deputy speaker because
he did. He's a speaker, deputy speaker.
There you go.
I will assure you that Fanatic Kofa will be the next speaker of the Republic of Liberia.
And Brani Samuka will be a convicted criminal servant as senator.
Wow.
I can assure you, within the next 2-3 months, you won't even be talking about it. CDC will throw their foot in their mouth so much, you will forget about this very quickly.
No, CDC cannot talk about any kind of moral aptitude. Because when the
they don't have it.
They
don't have the discipline. They can't move on.
All right,
gentlemen, we gotta leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Snow.
Subscribe to our network, Liberia Public Radio LPR. Like
it belongs to the Liberals Party.
All right. right, that's how we're going to leave it here this evening. And I want to thank you so much for being part of today's program. Until then, I'm Alfonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. Let's keep having these sort of conversations in the interest of good governance and accountability in Liberia. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
And both of us went down there and were able to talk to these people. Secondly, one issue that if you look came across, we have a little semblance of formal education. That helped us a little bit. That little education we had, whether it is a high school paper, whether it's an education from our cultural background, whether it's an education in the formal setting with a graduate degree or postgraduate